Hi, I'm Chef Jayaun Smith. Today we'll be making half roasted chicken on top of chimichurri, some smashed roasted potatoes with a little charred asparagus. Let's get going. All right, so for starters today, I already got some baby potatoes washed off, rinsed and ready to go. We got some purple potatoes, some yellow gold, super organic here. I got my water boiling. We're just gonna dump these in a little bit of salted water right here. And you want to let those boil for about 20 to 25 minutes. We're just looking to get those soft. Once those come out, we're going to drain them. We're going to give them a smash, put them on some parchment paper, get those roasted in the oven with some nice herbs and seasoning spices. And it's going to be real good. All right. So working with our chicken, we have a whole chicken here. I just want to show you all how to properly cut this chicken, how to debone it the proper way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this chicken on my cutting board. I'm gonna flip this over, put it breast side down. And then what I'm looking to do with my kitchen shears, I'm cutting the backbone out of this chicken right here. So I'm just gonna start off with one side, and you can always see where that backbone actually is if you get to feeling it, and you can really go along that spine, okay? So what I'm gonna do is come through, cut, and it's gonna be a little tough. Just use your muscles, okay? But once you get going, it's pretty much easy. So as you see, I got one of these sides cut off and removed. So now I'm just gonna kind of break that up a little bit, and we're gonna follow alongside the other side of this. Like I said, it's gonna be tough at first, but once you get going, it's pretty simple and easy. All right, and you can save this little backbone piece if you want to do some chicken stock for yourself, or if you want to make a nice chicken noodle soup. This would be good to use as well too. So I'm not gonna get rid of this. I'm just gonna save it, freeze it, and we're gonna use it for another day, okay? This little bone here, I'm gonna just cut, get rid of. I'm gonna use my knife for that. I don't want that sticking out. There we go. I always got to use a little bit of extra force with these chicken bones. And so now that we got this in like a spatchcock form right now, and some people, they'll cook a whole chicken like this, but what we're looking to do, we want this half chicken. So what I'm gonna do, and this part is gonna be a little bit hard. You can still use these kitchen shears if you want to. So we're just looking to cut along, get that split. You're gonna get a nice little piece off. Keep cutting. Boom. Now we got our half chicken, and this is how we're looking to roast it. All right, y'all. So I'm just gonna put this off to the side a little bit. I'm gonna get rid of this cutting board, change my gloves, and we're gonna start working on this seasoned compound butter that we're gonna use to actually season up this chicken, and then we're gonna roast it off in the oven, okay? All right, y'all. So working on this seasoned compound butter, I have 4 tablespoons of softened butter here in this bowl right here. I'm gonna hit it with about a tablespoon of olive oil as well too. I'm gonna come through with about a teaspoon of black pepper right in there, a teaspoon of granulated garlic, another teaspoon of granulated onion. And yes, I'm a chef. My hands are my measurement tools. A teaspoon of smoked paprika. And then you can either use some dry or fresh thyme. I like to use a little dry thyme in this recipe. So I'm gonna go about with another teaspoon of that dry thyme. Now we're not done with this. We wanna get the zest of a lemon. We're gonna do about 2 tablespoons of this zested lemon. And then we're gonna also chop up a little bit of fresh garlic cloves to throw in there. I like to do 2 or 3 garlic cloves in this recipe. And it doesn't have to be pretty when you're chopping up these garlic cloves. And I'm just looking to smash this garlic up. And then we're just coming through We're just giving it a nice little rough chop. Like I said, it doesn't have to be super pretty, super fine. You just really want to just get it nice and chopped up. Let those flavors be able to actually flow through this little compound butter. Thick pieces never hurt if you're a garlic lover like me. Sometimes I'll even add a little bit extra garlic cloves to this recipe. And sometimes I like to leave it a little bit chunky so I can get a nice little bite of that garlic in there. All right, so that's good. We're gonna get this garlic in there. And then we're gonna take this lemon. We're gonna get it zested up. I like to roll around with that lemon, make it easy. And about this lemon should be the 2 tablespoons that you're looking for in this recipe. Because that's what we're really going for in this recipe, a nice little lemon, herbaceous, compound butter, roasting this chicken off. And lemon does really well with helping brighten flavors in chicken, fish, seafood. So it's really important that you always incorporate some lemon in some type of way, in my opinion, especially when roasting your chicken. So we got that up there. And I'm also just gonna take a paper towel and make sure that I pat it dry. I'm just gonna use my hands, get a nice little mix, make sure I incorporate this perfectly myself. And as you can see, it makes this a nice little red compound butter with that smoked paprika. And it smells really good. You can smell that lemon zest in here as well too. But you get that nice soft herb compound butter. And so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna spread some out. We're gonna put some on the top. But we're also gonna, in places that we can, we're gonna get this rubbed inside that skin as well too, so we can really season inside that meat and let that compound butter roast on that chicken. Also, another thing that you could do, some people, they'll add a little salt to that compound butter. I like to add the salt on top of my chicken so I can actually control the true flavor of this chicken when I want it to cook. But it's not a problem if you want to add that salt actually inside the compound butter. This is one of those real hands-on type of recipes. See, that's why I like to use my hand. That's why I like to glove up. Don't worry about getting a little messy. So that's looking real good right there. So I already got me some nice salt crushed up in here. And I'm just gonna come across that chicken. And you wanna give it a nice little generous amount as well too. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna throw this in the oven at 425 degrees, and we wanna cook this for about 35 to 40 minutes or until that internal temperature reaches 165 degrees. I always recommend the average home cook to have an internal thermometer. This is something that you really need. And this is just a digital one, so it can truly read exactly where I want it to be. All right, so we're gonna get this tossed in our oven. So our potatoes are done. They're nice and tender. I got them drained out. I'm gonna go ahead and take them out of this pot. We're gonna throw them straight on this sheet pan with a little bit of parchment paper on these, because these are exactly what we're gonna end up baking these off in. And so while I let those continue just to cool off a little bit, I'm just gonna take a little bit of parsley. We're gonna work on what we're gonna season this up with. I'm just gonna chop this off for a little bit of greenery. I'm gonna look to just chop this up. All right, so we got those chopped up. And you can use a bowl if you want to. You can use a cup. I'm gonna use my hand. I got chef hands, so it's not gonna hurt me as much. And we're just gonna look to smash these. And this is all we're looking to do. Just get a little flat surface, and then we're gonna just start lining those out. Let's do it. And I really love using these more smaller buttery potatoes just because they look better on the plate. They cook faster and they typically get a little crispier as well too. And don't worry if they break apart. The more rustic this is, the better it is. This is definitely one of those rustic style potato recipes that I love to do for different dishes right here. But this really just makes that recipe shine a little bit more bright. What I'm gonna do first and foremost, actually, I'm gonna hit these with a little bit of olive oil, just going across. This helps with some of that crispness on top so it can really cook. And I'm only gonna do just this amount of salt because still when they get done cooking, probably gonna wanna hit it with just a little bit more. I'm gonna taste it, see where it is, but it's always best to, for certain recipes, to kind of salt things at the end of the recipe. So something like potatoes, soups, sauces, things like that, you wanna kind of season at the end with some of that salt flavor so you don't overpower it. It's always easy to over salt something than to take salt out. So that's what we always were taught, and that's what I like to do. We're gonna hit this with a little bit of black pepper. And another thing too, when you are using salt, and as you can see, even when I'm using, you know, a bottle like this, you know, rather than me taking it off and doing the seasoning spice over there, and this is one reason why I don't do that. Say if I wasn't paying attention and, you know, this is open and now, oh, all of that is coming out. That's why what I like to do, I like to put a little bit in my hand so then I could truly control and see the amount of seasoning and spices that I'm actually putting on top of something. So hitting that with a little bit of black pepper. We got some granulated onion. And then we're gonna hit this with a little bit of granulated garlic as well too. And then finally, what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit this with some of that fresh parsley right there, give it some color. And then we're gonna end up popping this into the oven as well too. We want this to cook for about 25, 30 minutes. You can go up to 35 if you really want some of that super crispiness on those potatoes, but I'm gonna go about 25, 30 minutes on these. We're gonna pop them right in with that chicken, all right? So we're gonna get started on our blended chimichurri. Traditionally, when you go to steakhouses, you'll see a chimichurri that's just a lot of chopped up parsley, herbs. Of course, they add the red pepper flakes in that, but I like to do this blended chimichurri just because it makes it a lot more greener. The color is brighter, and it just looks good on that plate. So that's what we're gonna do here. So let's get started on this. So we're gonna squeeze in some lemon juice straight into our blender. And I'm gonna go about 1/3 to a 1/2 cup of olive oil. Sometimes you may have to add a little bit more if you're looking for a much more smoother texture. So that's just my recommendations on you. Just kind of look at that towards the end. We're gonna go about a 1/2 teaspoon of these crushed red pepper flakes right into there. And this recipe is super easy because everything goes straight into the blender. I got 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. I told you I'm a big garlic lover, so I'm gonna throw a little extra one in there. We're gonna add a little bit of black pepper in here as well too. And I'm gonna add the salt in at the end once again because I like to season it at the end, actually taste the flavor. But this recipe actually is not gonna cost for a lot of salt because you get a lot of flavor from the Italian parsley and the cilantro. So I'm gonna just go ahead and cut these stems off. I'm just gonna add that right on in there. Go ahead and stuff it in. Then we got our cilantro. Same thing, cut those stems off. I just want the leaves pretty much in this recipe. I'm gonna close her up. And we're just looking to blend. You're gonna have to take it, shaking around a little bit. And like I said, if you ever need to, if you want to, add a little extra olive oil in. That's never a bad thing. That's what I'm gonna go ahead and do just to loosen it up just a little bit more for myself. Just around there. Close it back up. gonna get this a little mix in there just to make sure this is all truly incorporating. And this is exactly what we're looking for. And this is exactly what we're looking for in this recipe. And another one of my favorite things to do, just for like the slight little color, when you're looking in this recipe, you'll see kind of those red pepper flakes kind of peeking through. I like to just let it shine a little bit more bright. And you don't have to do this at all. It's not gonna make it extra or too spicy. We're gonna get this a taste, see where it is. And now I know exactly how much salt I wanna add. Once again, I like to put it in my hand. I'm gonna go right in there. That's perfect. All right. You can let that refrigerate for a little bit. Let those flavors really soak in there. And then we're gonna end up serving this a little bit later, all right, y'all? Smelling real good in here right now. Remember, like I said, important thing, you wanna keep taking this chicken out and basting it just to really let those juices continue to get in the chicken as it releases. So I'm taking my thermometer, and I always like to temp in 2 different places. So one, we're gonna go in this breast, see where we're at. Oh, we good to go. Right there, gonna come in this thigh. Good to go as well too. I'm gonna switch my oven to broil, and we're gonna broil this for about 3 to 5 minutes. I'm just looking to get a nice crisp on the skin once again, give it some color, and then just make it crispy a little bit. All right, so we're just gonna work on a little bit of charred asparagus. What I'm gonna do first, I'm just gonna roast these off for about a good 5 minutes. They don't need a long time. I like my asparagus to still have that crunch and little snap to it, so I don't wanna go over anything longer than 5 minutes. So I'm gonna cut about 3/4 away of this asparagus. You don't want the bottom pieces. That's when it get a little bit woody. It's not really, it's edible, but it doesn't really taste too good. It's a little bit hard to chew. That's one thing I want people to know when cooking asparagus. So we're just gonna lay these out on a sheet pan. Just looking to hit these with a little olive oil, nothing crazy. Gonna hit these with a little bit of salt. And I'm not even gonna go too heavy on the salt on these as well too, just simply because this is a nice, very herbaceous dish right here. You're gonna get a lot of flavor from that chicken. You're getting a lot of flavor from that chimichurri that we're gonna place on this plate as well too. So I want these asparagus to have their natural flavor. So we're gonna end up roasting this off. We still have this oven on 425 degrees. I'm gonna keep it there, and we're just gonna let this go for 5 minutes. All right, it's time to pull this chicken out. And this is exactly what we're looking for. You can see that skin got crispy right here. Nice little char to it. Almost look like it came fresh out the grill. This is perfect. So we're gonna let this rest for about 10 to 15 minutes right here. And while we're at it as well too, you know what else is done? Our nice potatoes right here. So as you can see, they got dark around the edges. Nice little crispness to them. You can pick it up and see it on the bottom. Nice chart, really well. It's exactly what you're looking for. Nothing too crazy. Still got some softness to them. Skin is nice, light and crispy right there. So we're gonna let these calm down. We're gonna let this chicken continue to rest. And we're gonna get plated up, and we're gonna serve this, and we're gonna eat it together. All right, y'all. So we're just looking to now just torch up this asparagus. If you don't have a torch at home, you can always throw this in for the broiler, but definitely throw it in for just a little bit. Pay attention to it. But I just want some charredness to it. Make it look like it came off the grill. Give it a little extra color. You can even throw it in the saute pan for just a little bit, but let that saute pan get really hot. So when you throw it in, it can automatically start getting that char. That's all we're looking to do. And then at that point, if you want to, just a little bit, don't need too much. Like I said, I want it to shine bright on its own. There's a lot of flavors in this dish. I'm just touching it with just a tiny bit of salt. We got our charred asparagus. So now that our potatoes are finished, I just want to add just a little bit more flavor to them. Nothing too crazy. I'm just going to take a half sprig of rosemary, take those leaves off, and just give this a nice little rough chop. Doesn't have to be perfect once again. Add those right into my potatoes right there. I got 1 clove of garlic. What I'm going to do is, got a nice piece. I'm going to cut that in half. And I'm going to just come through and cut slivers in that. We're going to add that right there. We'll season with just a little bit more salt to taste. Adding right on top. A tad bit more olive oil, nothing too crazy. And I'm just looking to just give these a toss. Perfect. All right, it's time to plate up and eat. Before we do that, I just want to touch on a few things of where you can get all of these quality ingredients. You can find this at your local hen house. From this chicken, you can get it at your nice butcher shop there. They just remodeled the whole Fairway store, and you can get this chicken whole, and not only whole, you can get them to cut it up for you if you don't want to do the extra work for you. They have a nice seafood selection, they have a nice steak selection, and of course a nice poultry selection, as you can see here with this beautiful chicken, from the quality potatoes, the asparagus, and everything that you've seen me use, even for the chimichurri, you can find right at Hen House. It's one of my favorite places to shop. Beautiful people, great service, and of course, great food. Let's get to plating up. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna start off with some of this chimichurri. I'm gonna put this right at the bottom. I'll go down with a nice little amount of that there. And I'm just gonna give this a spread around. That's gonna be the base of this plate right here. We're gonna lay everything on that. We're gonna take some of our potatoes. Make sure you get some of that fresh garlic in there as well too. Get some of the purple, regular color as well too. And we're just gonna go and build a nice little just palette of the potatoes right there. Make sure I get a little bit more of that fresh garlic so we can have some pieces of that in there as well too. I want to take some of my asparagus. And I'm just gonna make a nice little stack right here. We're gonna get one of these beautiful pieces of chicken and put it right there. And you can't forget always when plating, you gotta have a little bit of garnish. I'm just gonna slice this lemon up right there. Okay, add that right there. Put a few fresh pieces of parsley right over it as well too. And there you have it. Nice roasted chicken, fresh chimichurri. We got the charred asparagus and the nice crispy smashed potatoes.